Tell me what the hell are you scared of when in the end the only
Where's
things
the
I
love? Right here on
love
this
is
podcast. Welcome to Love Drops, where your hosts and One Love ambassadors, Charles and Diane, will share love, hope, and inspirational topics taken from their journey and world events. We will also include on location recordings and special pop up guests from cool places all around the world. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
whether big or small, love never fails. Oh, love it conquers all. Love never fails.
Welcome to the Love Drops podcast. We're very excited and moved about our show today. Our special guest, wow, there is a special message in every word that she has had to say. Every word. It has a universal application and we love it. And with that said, Diane, will you introduce our guest today?
Thanks, Charles. Sure. So today we have Catherine Duncan. Catherine's an integrative spiritual consultant. She is passionate about whole person healing in her private practice, learning to live. She companions individuals who are struggling with chronic illness, life transitions, grief and loss, and those searching for more meaning and purpose. Catherine is a board certified chaplain and certified spiritual director, certified in positive neuroplasticity with Rick Hansen, PhD, and a range of alternative healing modalities, including Reiki, healing touch, Qigong, the emotional freedom technique, EFT, tapping, and sound healing. An ordained minister with the United Church of Christ, she received her MA in theology and her spiritual direction certificate from St. Catherine University. She also holds a Master of Divinity equivalency from United Theological Seminary. In addition to her deep professional background, Catherine teaches from her 3 personal awakening experiences, including a brush with death that opened her gifts as a mystic and intuitive. Catherine's first book, Everyday Awakening, 5 practices for living fully, feeling deeply, and coming into your heart and soul, was released July 11, 2023. Her podcast, Everyday Awakening, was launched in May of 2025. We can see that Catherine is more than qualified to speak on our topic today, and that is love is love. And with that said, Catherine, you have the mic.
Great to meet you both. Thank you for having me on your show today.
You're very welcome. And I want you to just speak to our listeners from your experience of what love is love means. There's so many places that you can launch off from because I've kind of listened to you speak on other podcasts and you have a wealth of information, knowledge, and golden nuggets. And our listeners are here for it. So let's go, Catherine.
I think we are here on this earth to learn to love. I think it's about learning to love, growing love in our heart. I think when we pass on, we bring the love that we've learned with us. And how we differentiate ourselves is how we can truly love. And my book, Everyday Awakening, it's about how do we live from our heart and our soul. And this, I say soul, meaning this universal energy, oneness, divine, which is love. I think everything distills down to love, loving and loving ourselves, and how can we love one another. And again, that's, I think, why we are here in this human body.
Wow.
Yes. And so, love has led you through many, many pivots in life, I'd say. So you started out in the corporate world and you pivoted. So let's talk about, the love lead there. What pulled you out?
I followed the corporate path because I have five older siblings and my father, and they were all in the corporate world. So after college, it was like, yeah, you go into the corporate world. And I went into advertising, and I was working for Time Magazine, which was this glamorous job, best print job here. And I'm in the Midwest. I'm actually out in Minneapolis. And it was fun. I mean, I loved meeting people. I mean, meeting people, talking to people, that's what made me just filled my heart. So I was in this corporate job, but my heart, after a number of years, even though it was successful, money, all the outside exterior glamour, right? But it just, my heart started feeling restless. Like, is this it? Is this really my calling? And I had a near death experience whitewater rafting on a timing corporate trip that was life changing, that made me stop, reevaluate. I'm like, this isn't the path. I need to listen. And it gave me the courage to step out of the corporate world, do some consulting work and pray, listen, meditate. And that's when it came through me to study theology and divinity, and yes, pivot in my career to listen and follow who I am and why am I here on this earth.
Right. And then love took you through that theology experience and into the hospital. It took you into the critical care, into the life and death realm of this experience, right? And as a critical care nurse retired, I can resonate with that. And so through that experience, what was like your love bump to pivot you to your next? So what was the love and your chaplains, being a chaplain?
Yeah, great question. It came through me to start studying theology, divinity, but this ties back to when I was 10 years old, turning 11, I was suddenly gravely ill. I was diagnosed with a really rare childhood cancer. I was given a 20% chance to live. It was a really rough childhood. And back then, this is in the 70s, no one talked to me. They had no program for children. And my parents, I felt their love, but no one talked with me. And I, out of nowhere, started praying, and faith had meant nothing to me. I just started praying, could I live? Please, could I live? Could I live to be 20? Because I could feel that I was between life and death. And one afternoon, this peace flooded my body, and it was just like, ugh, took my breath away. And I felt this union with what I became to start to call God that was profound and life changing. It's been with me to this day. I got through all the treatments, survived. And in my teenage years, I started reading books on life and meaning and purpose and why are we here? And this has been my passion. So not surprising when I left the corporate world. What did I do? I started studying again theology, philosophy. Why are we on this earth? And so it's like my life really came full circle. I became a chaplain at our level one trauma hospital and a hospice chaplain. And I was with people. It's almost like, no one was ever with me. And my mom was, her love was with me, but it just to companion others going through upheaval and crisis, I just felt like, oh, that was my calling. And it was incredibly rich and rewarding.
Wow.
Wow. Well, in your experience in dealing with folks and giving them that uplift, if you will, have you noticed a difference between male and female? Being that I'm asking this question because male, we keep things so closed in. We're not basically as emotional as we would like to be because of this macho image that society has put on us. Have you experienced that, and how do you break through that?
That is interesting. Yeah, I think maybe on the front end, when you're first meeting with a patient, I now have a private practice, clients, maybe a little more closed, a little more shut down. But when it comes to being on the edge of life and death, and I companioned thousands of people as they left their body, as they died, in that regard, men, women were the same. And what I witnessed was people the last days of their life, all of a sudden open. I mean, there was just a cracking open of this is life. I mean, the beauty of life, the preciousness of life, and feeling love and radiating love. I could literally see golden light around people of love and understanding why they're on this earth. And then they would die. And it was, I mean, they died peacefully. That was the norm in hospice. And that was a big impetus, honestly, in writing my book. It's like you don't have to wait until you're in crisis or upheaval or at end of life. You can choose love. You can choose to open. You can choose that right now.
Yes, I love that. And here's the thing. It's a life-changing moment to hold someone's hand when they take their last breath or be there with the family. And nothing matters but just the love in that moment. How, for you, has that helped you to pivot and open up more? How has it opened you up more? How has love opened you up more from your hospice experience, from your experience in being between life and death?
Yeah, and going back to what you said about people peaceful, I must say in hospice for many, many years as a chaplain, it was rare for someone not to die peacefully, even if it's just the last hours. Dying in a trauma situation a little different, but I also want to share what I witnessed, and that was, yes, this essence of love, but also we don't die alone. I'm a mystic, I'm an intuitive, and I could see and feel spirits and angels come in the room and feeling people's spirits moving up and out of their body. I mean, my message, take it with a grain of salt, but death is not an end. We transform. So we do not die alone. But as relates to your question, love, it's an everyday practice of being mindful, I think, of how can I be more loving? How can I be more kind? How can I continue, even with, we are human, right? And we have experiences with family or friends or situations that will disappoint us or maybe we struggle with. And all of us do. I do too. I have a big family and, a few relationships are like, oh, a little challenging. But it's like, okay, how can I keep showing up and keep coming from a place of love? And for me, what helps me is I know in my heart and soul we are one with this universal energy, the divine. It's almost the unnameable. I've worked with so many people, so many names. Is it Allah, Brahma, God, Source, infinite intelligence? I mean, go on and on. But I know that's my essence. And how can I, in the moment, if I feel unrest, name it, feel it, breathe, let it out of my body, and move back into and lean back into love and keep learning how to keep loving. It's an everyday mindful practice for me and wanting to learn to keep loving more.
Awesome. And you know what? Thank you so much for bringing in the angels. I was critical care nurse, and so I did get to see people pass over in just different situations. And, hats off to hospice nurses, chaplains. I think hospice healthcare professionals rock. I mean, if I had heroes in the healthcare, I would say oncology healthcare professionals and hospice healthcare professionals. Ooh, next level rock. Okay. What I wanted to bring up briefly is, we're talking about love and we're talking about loving. Love challenges us to love. So, in that challenge to love, it's not necessarily all flowers and roses. It's often situations, hard situations, situations where you want to do anything but love, first choice, but you have to mindfully, intentionally choose love. So, how do you do that? How do you choose love?
I think about, I'm very conscious awareness of like when I get off, like we're all human, right? And all of a sudden something
Yeah.
can trigger us or pull us off. I can catch it pretty quickly. I like to say, keep growing that awareness muscle of where am I? Am I in my body? Am I in my mind? What's happening? Tuning in. I've studied and certified in the whole field of neuroplasticity. I know we can continue to rewire our brain and open and grow that love. But day to day, I'll share a practice, a couple maybe quickly, that I mindfully have part of my day. It's habit. So one of them is in the morning when I wake up, it's actually a gratitude practice. And, a lot of people speak about, what are you grateful for? Keep a gratitude journal, and all that's great. Here's how I practice gratitude. In the morning when I wake up, before the alarm or the alarm goes off, I'm in bed for a few minutes and I start with just habitually, because I've done it for so many years, moments of gratitude. I think about I'm alive. Wow. I have a bed, a home, family. I think about what I'm grateful for, but then I feel it. Love, gratitude, highest vibrational energy. So then I feel it coursing through my body. To me, it feels like this energy moving up and down. It feels amazing. And then I have some moments of prayer, and I may even see my day and the flow of my day. I do this before I get out of bed. It sets the tone for my day. The opposite is people, are listening who wake up, they grab their phone, yikes, and we can turn on the stress response by thought alone. So it's deciding, okay, how do I want to live my life? What are the choices I'm making? And one other practice, I have many, for example, in my book, Everyday Awakening, of how to find more peace and ease in your life. But one I love is self-soothing, putting your hands over your chest area and just feel the warmth of your hands. As you breathe in and breathe out, it starts to calm your nervous system. And then I could just, you could say, may I be at peace, or if you believe in something, give me peace, and just breathe and feel warmth and love in your being. That's a great go-to. If in the middle of the day, all of a sudden I'm stressed, or at night when I go to bed, this is what I do a lot, is just grounding. So a couple thoughts to share.
Yes.
Well, more people need that, a way of releasing that. And that makes love, starting with yourself, loving yourself, and finding ways to love yourself as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you do Reiki, you do energy healing, you do Qigong. These are a lot of Charles's, those are his sweet spots. That was like his
Nice.
love language, and EFT. So in incorporating the love frequency in these different modalities, how have you found it helpful? How have you expressed love in different modalities, with yourself and clients?
I think these various modalities, and I use them in my private practice based on who I'm with, and also for myself. I think of them as really getting your energy to flow, clearing your body, clearing the flow so that you can be in alignment with your heart, your soul, this universal love, to let it really flow through you. So, I think of even just, let's take Qigong, some of the body movements. The deepest healing we experience is somatically releasing what we don't need to hold on to letting it flow through us, and then opening into the essence of our heart. I think our heart is the doorway to our soul. So we can feel our heart, feel the flow, feel there is the essence of love, and feeling that moving through our being. So these modalities, I think, are powerful to help clear any stuck energy, anything old, family of origin. These are the kinds of things I work with my clients, that they may be holding on to something from early childhood. It really informs who we are until we understand and process verbally, somatically, to help clear, and then to be able to grow and live and lean into, but live from your heart and soul. And that is where the essence, I think, of our life, our essence, it all distills. I love your podcast name, Love is Love, because it all distills to love. That is it. And I remember, I'll just share, in graduate theology and divinity school, one of the biggest takeaways is, from a Christian standpoint, And you think of in the New Testament, Jesus, I mean, the whole mission was love. The whole reason was love. And, across all faith traditions, and I'm very inclusive in my language and my teachings and everything I've learned from working with people of all faith backgrounds. And it's every spiritual tradition distills down to love. That is it. Love. How can we love and love ourselves? It starts with how can really you keep loving yourselves. The more love we have, each of us, we can love another even more. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
So
how do we
no,
love?
and no one can stop you from loving them. They don't have to accept it, but we send it out there universally. We've had various conversations about love and starting with yourself. And a
Mhm.
lot of folks overlook that. So get the love in your heart, get the love throughout your body, and let it just permeate throughout the world.
Absolutely. Charles and I, we travel as One Love ambassadors. One of the greatest things is we demonstrate love. We demonstrate love unconditionally. We demonstrate love in action, and we demonstrate love with respect. And by that, I mean, I love you, Catherine. That's nice, Diane. I don't love you and I don't want your love. Okay, I still love you,
Mhm.
but I respect that. And that is a part of just that journey. That is a part of just that evolvement. And so I don't want to stop the podcast without touching this, circling back to just family, to childhood, to just feeling like, hey, I don't feel like people were there for me. The big people were there for me the way that I needed them to be there for me. Not saying that maybe they weren't there for us in the best way that they knew how, but the way that I needed them to be there for me. I resonate with that. I listened and heard some things like with the interaction with your dad, just the relationship with your dad. And I aligned and resonated with that because my father was absent a lot in my childhood. I'm grateful I knew him. I'm grateful I knew he loved me, but he loved me in the way that he could love me. And I was a very grown adult when I got, that lesson, right? And that healing. But here's the thing. How do you restructure from that? And I'm asking because there's so many people right now in the world that the center, the foundation of their pain is from their childhood trauma, their childhood, like, I don't feel like my parents loved me, or I feel like my parents were too aggressive. So, can you speak to that?
Absolutely. And it starts with, and this takes courage. It takes courage, a consciousness to look inward and say, I want more. I want more in my life. I want to feel more. And it starts by looking inward. I really believe I've experienced this with so many people that every one of us can heal. We can heal if we're willing to look inward. And if it's a rough childhood, and yeah, I grew up, my father was abusive, and then I had, this really serious cancer, and I was really on the edge. And I would say that we are not alone. One of the chapters in my book is connect with something greater. Can you just tune in, come inside, put out if it's prayer, intention of I want to heal. I think working with a skilled therapist can be really helpful to help you go inward and look inward. And once we have clarity of what we did not get as a child, what happened, we can bring it into the front of our brain to integrate it, then somatically letting that out of our body, the fear, the unrest. That is how we heal. And opening to that energy moving in each one of us. What is it for every one of us? Some people may call it, a sense of energy. Some may call it God, divine, Brahma, Allah. Can you tune inward to this energy source within and around us? And that is the ultimate source, I think, of love. And that is what I experienced at 11, that carried me through the darkest time of my life and has been with me to this day. And that deep sense of presence and love, it's there, it's here for all of us if we're willing to start to look inward.
Ooh,
Wow.
that's good.
Now that opens up a lot of doorways going through kind of digressive therapy within yourself and going back and find where did that door close? Well, let me open it and grow from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a choice. I mean, I've worked with many, many, many people and continue my private practice. Most people that come and land on my doorstep are like, I want to heal. I want to feel more. Maybe they've even made a lot of money. They've been successful, but they're numb. They feel nothing. And there's so much more to life. The preciousness of being alive. It's like, wow, it's here. But it does take a courage. And there are some people who are like, nope, not doing the work. So it's a choice, and I've just seen profound healing through my years and my career, and the love is here within. And yeah, it is here. And I think that again is why we are on this earth. We're here to keep uncovering and opening and learning to love. And I want to recognize this is easy to say in the chaos of the world. I'm here in Minneapolis. We've lived through a lot the last few months. It's been incredible. We live close to where all the shootings have happened, and it's been the chaos tangible in the air. You can feel it. But it's like, okay, how can I be grounded and find my breathing room to be here to then the more love we embody, I think the more we can share with everyone and everyone around us. Life can shift and change and open.
Absolutely. So the podcast is a Love Drops podcast. And so what we say is we're changing the world one love drop at a time. So if we all just raise our love vibrations, right? Then there will be a change. There will absolutely be a change. And so with the topic here, love is love. I really appreciate the way you described it on a podcast that I heard when you said, you were feeling love and it was like a sense of a warmness that just came over you and just went down your body. Felt that, and others have felt that. And what I will say with love is this: you will know. You will know. And it's like, I can't tell you how you will know because you will know differently than I may know. But the thing of it is you will know because it will shake you to your core where you can't ignore it. You can't ignore it. You can choose not to follow it and you can choose to try to forget it, but you will absolutely know. So, what we asked of all of our guests is to leave a love drop for our listener. And what a love drop is just something from your heart to just pass on to someone that's listening, for them to catch it and for them to just get on that track that love is love.
Well, thank you for having me on your show. I'd like to share even just this thought of prayer, intention of putting out to this universal energy of just help me, be with me. One of my very favorite guided meditations, visualizations I do every day is just seeing this white light. You could see white light, golden light just coming through the top of my head, down into my neck, my shoulders, my chest, abdomen, all the way through and then my feet and releasing anything not of love. Like it could look like gray smoke leaving your body. So I just envision this white light of love flooding my body and around my body. I think it's one of the most healing things you can do. It's a ritual that I do regularly. So I'd offer that for the listeners today. Try that. And just the sentiment comes through me to share that, to know, to lean into that. Everyone listening, you are love. Your essence is love. And can you feel that? Can you open into that? Can you, and if you're on the edge of like, I don't know, can you open into it and start searching to feel it, to have moments, just moments? And everyone listening, I'm guessing, has had experiences of a sense of wonderment. Maybe it's the wind in the trees or the sun setting over a lake where life stops, time stops. All of a sudden there's like, that's what I'm talking about, the preciousness of life. And that is where love is, feeling that love in your being and opening into that. And we're all love. That is our essence.
Wow, that is very gratifying. And it's put forth in just everyday terminology. Bring that love into yourself. And there it is.
Yes.
So I just want to ask you both, what do you do when a family member, a friend, something happens that's really maybe upsetting, disappointing? This happens. We're human. We're in a human body. So how do you deal with that to keep loving, to keep opening your heart when something happens that's really challenging?
Oh, now that is a broad question. When it's really challenging, if it's coming from family member or friends, I let them talk. I give it back to them to ensure that I'm listening, that I did hear what they're saying. And through the dialogue, they've answered their own question. That's how I've dealt with that. But then for me personally, I talk to myself, what are you doing? Why did you do that? And then I demand an answer from me to me. And that has helped me a lot.
I like that.
Now, did
Okay.
that answer the
Yeah,
question?
that's good. Yeah. No, I was just wondering what practice you use because we're human and things happen. And, I recently had a sister that her behavior was really a little disappointing, upsetting. And it's just like my go-to is, please help me forgive her. Please help me feel more love.
And for me, when it's a family member, friend, or just someone close, my first go-to is just grace. So the first thing that I do is I give grace. My second go-to is don't take it personal. So I follow like Don Miguel Ruiz, where
Yep.
love
They
with the
love his work. Yeah.
yes,
The four agreements.
for
Yeah.
agreement, absolutely. And, like you said, Catherine, we're all human. So even though those are my go-tos and that's what I do, there are moments where it hurts deep. So sometimes I have to take a beat and just pause and say, okay, what's this really about? And find my way to forgiveness. I always have to find my way to forgiveness because that is the only way I can continue to love, right? From that place of forgiveness. And I'll say this, sometimes I have to love from a distance. Sometimes I have to simply release the person in love, continue to love them from a distance because either boundaries are repeatedly crossed or just toxic energy is repeatedly thrown. And so I know that in love, I don't have to be a doormat. In love, I don't have to be a receptacle of toxicity. So sometimes I have to just release it and love from a distance. Did that answer,
Yeah,
Catherine?
that's lovely. I'm right there with you. Forgiveness, because when we forgive, we heal and we let the energy go, and then we're able to love more. And I also agree with boundaries, healthy boundaries, but always coming from a place, I think, of kindness. I just think kindness wins, love
Yes.
wins.
Love wins. Catherine, I will say to you, thank you for your time. It is non-refundable and we appreciate it. So
Yes.
thank you for joining us today. For our listeners, please connect with Catherine. Please support her. Grab her book. Catherine, can you shout out the name of your book one more time?
Yeah, my book is called Everyday Awakening, and it's on
Yes.
Amazon, Barnes and Noble, everywhere.
And we are going to put your link to your website and also your socials in the narrative of the show. So, listeners, please do check it out. Support Catherine, share her message, her book with others, because that is what love does. Love gives, love receives, love grows, love never fails. So we thank you for joining us on today's show. If it resonates, please subscribe and share and continue to love forward. And until next time, Charles and I sign off with
One love.
Never a second will I waste, never an opportunity to taste the sweetness of this life.
Thank you for tuning in to the Love Drops podcast. Be sure to follow this podcast and share the love with everyone you know. Until next time, this is Charles and Diane signing off. One love. One love.
Love it conquers all, whether big or small. Love never fails. Oh, love it conquers all. Love never